Welcome to my classroom. I'm Mrs. Sexton. So, back in 2021, at the end of the year, I applied for a grant for Modern Classroom. The reasons why I did this was because we were facing some challenges in education. The biggest challenge I faced in my in person learning um, overall in middle school was the behavior issues and being able to differentiate assignments for all the learning levels. Um, However, 95% of last year, we were virtually teaching, and I really struggled with differentiation and having my students participate with me, whether it be unmuting that button and talking to me or just completing their assignments. There was a huge lack of that. And next, when we were in hybrid with both in person and virtual learning, there was 100% lack of participation or differentiation on my part because I didn't differentiate with the levels for the kids. I just made one assignment and I read it and I had set class with explicit instruction. I do, we do, you do constantly. And it wasn't as effective as it could have been. And then when we did the hybrid, I had lack of student collaboration. It was hard for the kids to be able to work together on assignments and projects, just because some of them were in person and some of them were virtual. Just some things that I wanted to improve, and I thought, oh, modern classroom, it sounds like something that I would be able to do because of the word modern. I was like, oh, okay, so that's talking about today's society and not just traditional teaching. So here was the process of completing my training. Okay, so I had blended instruction. I learned about that and how using technology and instruction videos and notes and in person instruction all at once. And I learned that at first in my training and my learning process in Modern Classroom. And then after that, I learned how to create self paced structure. So I could set up a guide for the students, record myself doing my lessons, create assignments, all for these students to access um, using their technology. Okay. And then I learned about mastery based grading. Now, in the past, I thought, oh, formative assessment. We use that for bell ringers, exit slips, and then we do summative assessments at the end of the unit. Well, based grading was a little different and something I was not familiar with at all. Um, it's graded mini quizzes and grade for mastery, not completion. You could take a grade on it, but it was really okay, did they learn what I needed them to learn? And if they didn't, they needed to go back and watch my videos again or go over to lessons which they struggled with and then try the mastery check again. Um, I thought that was a unique way of being an educator and forming that into a classroom mode. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I'll get into that later. So, getting into the instruction videos and um, the self-paced structure, the instruction videos helped with this because I planned my lessons. Okay, I made everything out. I did it a little differently. I'm learning. I'm not perfect. I will adjust in the future, but I planned it out in a lesson plan, and then I made my assignments for my kids. I really like my kids to use Google Slides because they have Chromebooks. And then with this learning, the teacher recorded the video before class, not what they were teaching presently, but before class, and they posted that into their lessons. Okay. One difficult thing, it took lots of time and something I was not prepared for. Um, I do think that is one aspect I need to improve on for the future in order to enhance and to improve my capabilities of being a modern classroom teacher. And then we go to enhancing with the lessons. Absolutely love Edpuzzle. I do, I do. I wish that it was free for educators, but I think that educators do have to pay a monthly fee, and that sometimes coming out of pocket gets a little pricey when there's other things that we also have to uh, figure out and to afford in our lives. However, Edpuzzle is an amazing tool. You can use your videos, you could use YouTube videos or other educational videos that you have found that relate to your standards or skills or targets or whatever you're teaching. And you can embed questions in it and notes for the kids. And this is really interactive. I do use this, and the kids always go, okay, can we do this one together? So sometimes I will just post my ed puzzle on the board. We'll listen to it, follow along on my ViewSonic board, which is a huge board in the front of my classroom, and we'll follow along. And when the question comes, we'll pause and I'll have students write their answer down. And then um, if it's multiple choice, I'll be like, oh, who had A? Let's stand up. Okay, have a seat. Who had B? Raise your hand. And I'll do stuff like that. And it really helps them interact and go, oh, I wonder why they got that one and not this one. And then I have people clarify. So Edpuzzle is really good and interactive for student learning, and you can keep track of the progress. They can't rush ahead, and if you set it that way, and it's a good resource for teachers to use, no matter what subject area. And then next, there's ways that teacher can share their lessons and the recordings and there are other resources they want their students to use. I, however, use Google Classroom. I really enjoy it. Um, the districts that I've worked in, the 3 districts that I have been employed with, use Google Classroom. So that is what um, I have geared my lessons to. Okay. So I set up my classroom and on Google Classroom, I set it up with the topic, with the date, and then all the assignments under that listed um, with the due dates. Okay. It's easy to find and locate for the students. And I do this all on Google Classroom. First thing every kid starts with is a bell ringer. They can find that in their Google Classroom, and it's labeled bell ringers and the date. And then they go in and they find the Google form with the date and they fill it out. It's like 5 questions. Friday's bell ringers are quizzes, so I can see if they mastered what they practiced all week. And usually my bell ringers are just grammar. It's one skill that needs reiterated no matter the age. Okay. And then let's talk about the progress tracker. This is my favorite part of the whole modern classroom resources and applications they've taught us. I use it. Give the assignment and the due date. The assignment, the due date. So the kids know what to do, and I know that, oh, I need to adjust the due date on this because we're not going to get done, and the kids need to be aware. Really effective. So lesson clarification, you saw that my blue right here was must do, purple should do, pink aspire to do, and then green mastery. So the must do's are just your guided notes and your practice over and over again. Eventually that'll lead to your graded assignment. And then my should do's are not a grade. It's just extra practice. And then my aspire to do's are extra credit. I'm like, yeah, you do it. You get those extra points. It shows that you are wanting to expand your learning. Okay. So my mastery checks are graded assignments when I do the progress trackers. I do it this way. It's just preferred. It's not recommended in that case, but I do because I like it that way. All of my graded assignments that are weekly or daily are due 20 are worth 20 points. Okay. So I didn't use all the techniques and strategies that Modern Classroom taught me because when I got into the classroom, I went from middle school to high school. And I noticed and recognized that My students needed less technology and more of me. So I didn't record any lessons after unit one. I was not vibing with the modern classroom, and neither were the students. So we were ready for collaborating face to face. So overall, I decided not to use modern classroom fully in my classroom. We've had 9 weeks of class and lessons, and the students have stated that they would use it in virtual learning, and that's it. That would be a preferred technique for them. But in the future, I'm going to do this. I think it would help my kids master the learning, the standards that they need.